we have it looks like Tom in Michigan, pronouns he, him, wants to talk about ontology or philosophy or other big words. What's going on, Tom? How are you?
Hi. Yeah, so the big philosophical word is ontological. And so I wasn't sure if you're a philosopher or if you understood the concept.
Yeah, I mean, I understand ontology, at least in a layman's perspective, but hopefully you can explain it for us if it's over our heads. So go ahead. What are you going for?
Personally, I'm a layman.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if it meant something specific to you in an academic.
My understanding is ontology is the nature of things, right? Epistemology, how we know stuff. Ontology is what it is, right? Does that sound like a good breakdown to you, Tom?
Yeah.
Cool.
I can work with that.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Where are you going?
Well, when I called in, I was asked if I was an atheist or a theist, and I said deist. And so it's sort of this, how do I prove God, or what is the evidence for God? And I was taught by a philosophy teacher this concept of ontological evidence or, consciousness. And I wasn't sure if you considered that a good reason for the existence of God.
Well, so give me the breakdown real quick. Don't use it's not super helpful, I find, if somebody says, well, hey, the Kalam cosmological argument is a great argument that proves God. Just tell me what the argument is real quick. Like, if you just break it down for me, we don't have to be all technical and stuff. Like, we're not winning any awards here or anything, man. So just, lay it out for me real quick and we'll see if we have any thoughts.
So basically, there are two groups, the atheist and the theist. And in the debate, some people use a personal experience. I was walking down the road and I saw a flower. I believe in God. It's a personal experience. My philosophy teacher was approaching that idea from a different point of view, in that the atheist and the theist can't talk about God if God doesn't exist. In other words, a person can't talk about a subject that they don't know anything about.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, hang on.
I mean, so things can exist as an idea and not necessarily exist in real life, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we talk about Spider-Man and Voldemort all the time, so I'll give some new examples. Like the Simpsons are an idea that exists. Like, there's a story, there are characters. I can feel a certain way about the Simpsons TV show and then know that I'm not going to run into Bart Simpson on the street, right?
Yes, I agree.
So do you think that kind of assuages those fears there? We can talk about something, whether it's, material, physical, or whether it's just a concept, because concepts do come from material things, right? Like, I can't hold a thought in my hand, but thoughts are only able to occur because we have this squishy substance of like connecting neurons and stuff, and it ATP energy and like zappy towards each other, and then like that all happens, and then we're like, oh yeah, unicorns. Ben, was that medically accurate, by the way? Was that
is exactly the way I was taught. Zappy unicorns. That is everything I know about the human brain.
Basically a doctor at this point, Tom. But does that make sense? Like, we can talk about concepts, and those concepts not actually have any correlation to physical things in reality, right?
I'm not sure I agree 100%.
Okay.
I think.
Do you think Spider-Man is real in reality?
In a different way.
Yeah. Do you think Spider-Man is a real person, or do you think there are human beings who dress up in costumes that we created to fit an idea that we have of a human being who was bit by a radioactive spider and then like has the ability of spiders? Do you think that person is real?
No.
Yeah, and we can still talk about Spider-Man, right?
Spider-Man. So I'm.
Yeah, we can still talk about that stuff. We can still talk about Wakanda, even though it's not a real place, right? Because we have this story, we have this concept. And like again, the story exists in the sense that, like, yeah, somebody printed a book that somebody else had like drawn things on, and they like printed it in mass, and then they put like a price sticker on it, and then I paid money for it, and then I put it in a nice plastic sleeve and kept, you know, a hold of it for the next 20 years so that I could, you know, make a bunch of money or something. Again, not from personal experience, but yeah, like that is different than us talking about like my car in my driveway, right? Like, because while cars maybe in the broad sense are conceptual, I actually have a car, and that's what we're talking about, which is the same thing when we talk about a deity, right, in the broad concept versus your God. If you believe in a specific God, which you probably do, anybody that believes in a God seems to have some attributes that they attribute to it. Well, then we'd have a different discussion, and I wouldn't say that they're on the same level, right? You would say, hey, the concept of a God exists, and I would say, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And you would say, well, my God exists. And I say, that's where, I don't know, you'd have to show me that.
Yes, now I agree with you. That's the distinction I'm trying to make.
Well, I think just because we are getting close to the end, I'm a big fan of being told how right I am, Tom. But if it's okay with you, we're gonna let you go and try to grab a couple more calls. But please, again, you know, give us a call back and hang out with us and push back. There's a lot of really cool people here that are on this show and some other ACA shows, and we always love to have chats with people. So. But thank you so much, Tom. We do appreciate you hanging out with us.